So Zach
Craig!
delayed our recording because he wanted to take a 10-minute shit, so...
Yeah?
I hate you. I hate you both.
It needed to come, alright? I haven't shit in like a week.
You what?
I don't have a regular bathroom schedule.
That's crazy, because I shit like every day and I love every moment of it.
I can't believe this whole first section's gonna be cut out on the editing floor.
Look, talking about shit is funny.
Yeah, it is. I encourage everyone to tell their best shit stories.
Funny, stinky, poop.
Okay, you know what? Never mind. I hate this.
Fart with extra reverb. Put it in the intro.
What, fart with extra reverb?
Yeah, it replaces the smooth, the funky jazz.
I actually had a dream where I was listening to a podcast, and their intro used our funky jazz that I found on a royalty-free site that's not really ours. And I was like, shit, we're not original.
Well, we can't use this now. Someone else has already used this royalty-free music that belongs to no one.
I guess we could maybe try and pay for the rights for it, but I think that would be like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it would be. It would be very, very expensive.
I just put you both on a corner for a while.
Joe, Zach, I am a virgin and actually rather chunky.
I mean, if I was at all attractive to prospective customers, I'd be like, sure, put me out there.
Yeah, neither me or Zach are really...
Don't worry, big coat and dark lighting does wonders.
Sure, but, when they get the clothes off and they feel my disgusting folds, they're going to be like, I think you're either going to give me a refund or I'm going to kill you. So, then
they're gonna...
Well, that's why you got your pimp boogie.
But you're going to be so busy pimping everybody else that you aren't going to be able to protect all of us.
Yeah. Listen, how many...
We're gonna die.
Listen, Joe, here's the thing. The people you've pimped out, 3 of them died just in the past 2 weeks. I can't trust you.
I like this new Joe lore.
Joe lore.
So, anyways, what have you guys spent today doing besides sleeping in someone's case?
I was going to say sleeping, but...
Try to resuscitate one of my whores. Didn't go too well.
Well, don't worry, I'm sure someone will pay for the body.
Yeah, her family if she wants a burial.
Anyway, I've been trying out new pins and Clip Studio Paint!
I've been playing... So, we ended the last podcast of me saying, oh yeah, my favorite video game is Valkyrie Drive Bikuni.
God, I forgot about that.
I actually hadn't bought it yet. I bought it the next day, and I've been playing it. And I enjoy it. The hack and slash is very fun. It's just like mindless fun. You see a lot of...
Wait, I warned you about this pre-show. It's Danganronpa time.
No, it is not.
Yeah, Danganronpa! I literally watched the first season of the anime, and that was it. I liked it. It was fun.
I got the game.
So,
and
okay, I'll shut up about Valkyrie Drive Bikuni. Anime titty games. Just please no Danganronpa.
Chihiro is a good boy. Or girl, or non-binary pal. Depending on however you headcanon them.
No, fuck off.
Zach, I don't want people who are like, no, Chihiro's definitely a girl. If you say it's a boy, then you're a transphobe. I don't want those kind of people listening to us. Okay?
I mean, yes, he is a man, but I'm also just kind of like, I don't care what people headcanon fucking anime characters as.
I don't know. I saw like a Project Diva stim board that was like, Chihiro misgenderers don't interact, and I was like, it's a fictional character. Why Chihiro's not going to come out of the universe and defend himself because someone called him a boy,
I'm
or
like,
even if you'd called them a girl, like, they aren't real. It doesn't have to be that serious that people can't interact with your stupid Miku Hatsune stim blog.
like if someone willfully misgendered like an actual trans character, I'd be like, hey, go away. But with Chihiro, I'm just like, well, canonically, his story is that he's a guy. He's just a femboy. And as a fellow femboy, I can relate.
You are like the most advanced femboy because you are AFAB.
I'm the ultimate femboy because I'm AFAB. I'm sure that anybody who is actually out there listening to this probably guessed already by the fact that I introduced myself as Zach and that I sound this way. They've probably
I always thought
already
you
guessed
sounded
that
like a boy.
I think I just sound like a really weird girl, and like a really weird 12-year-old girl at that.
I've always just thought you sounded like a, what do you call it? A prepubescent dude.
I was about to say a prepubescent boy.
Well, Zach, if it makes you feel any better,
Uh-huh.
I went back and, I want to see how Lee did on the editing. By the way, Lee, very good job on that. I just want to say.
Excellent editing.
Thank you.
But went back, listened to it, heard my voice, and I was like, oh, I sound like the chick from The Nanny.
What?
Yeah, I have a very nasally voice. Like, at least in my opinion.
Maybe, but you don't sound like her. That's my best impression of the nanny. That's what she says at the beginning of every episode. As she comes on screen, she just says "ah," but it's in her specific voice, so it comes out.
Start the episode, and you just hear, "Ah!"
At the start of every single episode, not just one, all of them.
You just hear. Ah!
So if someone edit Joe's scream to the beginning of a nanny episode.
Yeah, just replace fucking Fran Descher's opening voice lines with my primal scream.
I think if I actually watched that video, I would actually die laughing. Like, that would be what killed me. Oh, that's so good.
Oh, sorry, I was sipping on a Seagram's Escape strawberry daiquiri.
Wow, Lee is drunk for this podcast. I can't believe it. You are
It's okay.
encouraging bad behavior. Wow!
I'm not even drunk. I'm having one single alcoholic beverage that barely counts as a beer.
Yeah,
next to a Pepsi.
Yeah, but you're a fucking gnome, so like that's enough.
I am under the influence of neither alcohol nor recreational drugs.
Is that right, liver boy?
But my liver isn't like alcohol or recreational drugs. It doesn't like make me high just because I have a bad liver. It's like symptoms of progressive familial intrahepatic cholestasis type 3 gets you absolutely crunk.
But no, the only time so when I was camping, I would down like 5 Mike's Hard Lemonades a night, and I would barely get tipsy.
You would down 5 hard mics?
Yeah, there was a lot of men in Mike there. Anyways,
I wish I could down 5 hard mics.
You just got to go camping. Anyways,
yeah.
The only thing is,
they're all in Minnesota.
All of the mics are in the forest. You have to go out to the wilderness to find a hard mic.
Yeah, and sadly, none of them have showered because they're camping.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I remember releasing.
So there's going to be a little extra cheese on the side of it.
The smegma.
I remember releasing my first hard mic into the forest.
It was your 13th birthday. It was a coming of age ceremony.
Yeah, someone was coming, all right. Probably Mike.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Mike was coming near like me when I was 13, but
yeah, but I mean that's just what hard mics do, though. You know, they can't really help it.
Actually, as I recall, I think that's the exact reason we sent him into the forest.
So, anyways, those never really got me. Those got me barely tipsy. I was still like lucid. I could laugh a little easier and stuff. The one time.
You're the fucking most toxic hetero freak I know.
I'm very homosexual. I would never actually sleep with a woman, not because I don't like women. Women are great. I'm not really interested. But every time I see a fictional woman, I'm like, give her thick thighs, really thick thighs, and she's perfect. Just thicken her. Make her Lady Dimitrescu minus the fart porn.
Okay, I am going to go look for some of that though. Now see what's going on.
No, please God, no. Oh, Lady Dimitrescu really is just my ideal woman.
Lady Dimitrescu face farts Jill.
No. Listen, there are very few fictional women who I'm like, if she was alive, if she was like a real woman, I would still fuck her. The only ones are Bayonetta and Lady Dimitrescu. If they were alive, if they were real women, I would become bisexual.
You want to see something awful?
Yes. I always want to see something awful.
They should tune into our podcast.
Why do they draw it like that, you know? I don't, listen, to each their own, but, like, fart kink is one of the ones that I'll really just never be able to understand. Ever in my life.
Yeah, I just gotta say, fart fetishists get the wall.
Look, they aren't hurting anybody. I'm very afraid of them.
I'm afraid of them because I feel like they weird me out. First of all, it's like, dude. I'm sorry to anyone who's listening to this and has like this fetish, but like,
I'm not getting a better fetish.
Listen,
like
we have our own questionable fetishes.
As long as you're not like creeping on people and like following women in public, waiting for them to blast one, I guess you're probably fine. Find a partner who's like into the same thing as you and let them fart on you, I guess.
I guess probably the main reason that fart fetishists like really creep me out more than other like kind of quote unquote gross fetishes is that you know how there are certain fetishes where every single person you've ever interacted with who has that fetish has been a creep with absolutely no boundaries? That's been me with like fart fetish, scat fetish, that kind of thing, like vor.
So, I know a dude with an explosion fetish and a hair fetish.
I forgot about the guy with the explosion fetish.
Like, this was when I was like 15 or so, and dude, I don't know if you still like find me on social media at all, but sometimes I do feel like I'm sorry, I'm not going to put you out there by name, but just know that this still haunts me. But literally, like, I was like 15 and I was like role playing, and every single time it was like he would focus on the hair of characters, and his character would always like put their hair into a lovely coif or whatever it's called.
A lovely coif.
And then there's always like the big thing was that it was always like, oh, there's gonna be an explosion, everyone's gonna die, and like eventually it's just like, dude, can we just have some? Like, I don't want to roleplay anymore. That's
similar to. I'm sure that I've told you guys about this experience, but for anyone who listens to the podcast, story time. Back when I was in like middle school, I was like sort of just getting involved in DeviantArt and stuff like that. It might have been early high school. But either way, I was a minor. I was quite young and naive. And this person, I don't know how they found me. But they found me somehow on that website. And they really, really were into Vor.
Oh no, I remember this.
Yeah, and they were either a much older teen or a full-grown adult. I can't recall which. Either way, it was pretty creepy. And they always wanted to RP Vor with me in a very public space. And I was at a point in my life where I wanted to be accepted. There was an older person who was offering me acceptance and attention, so I went with it. And only when I looked back on it, I mean, eventually, finally, I realized that, like, this was creeping me out. I was very uncomfortable. I didn't want to continue interacting with this person, and so I just broke off all contact.
No more for war.
And then years and years later, like, I'm still made viscerally uncomfortable by Vor because of that guy, and it really makes me realize, like, oh my god, that was kind of a messed up situation I was in, huh? So it's just, I guess it's just kind of stuff like that, and it's like exclusively happened to me with these quote-unquote gross fetishes that have to do with like bodily functions and eating people. And so I always look at these fetishes and I'm like, to each their own, but this shit freaks me out.
I feel like it's just like, Zach, what generation? We aren't, well, you're probably a millennial.
I don't know. Sometimes I've seen some people say that I'm Gen Z. Most people say I'm a millennial because 1993, but I have seen some people say that I'm Gen Z, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm somewhere, like, I'm like
Gen Z / later millennials, we'll just call them.
Yeah, like,
I think it's just part of our like past is that if you were online and rather terminally as like a teenager and you spent a good portion of your time online, you have trauma related to these kinds of things.
Yeah.
There was I had like that aversion to BDSM because when I was like 8.
Oh, I think I know this story.
Joe, you were very special. You got your trauma early.
Yeah, Dad, I fucking went on to like some Flash game website my dad had saved.
Oh god.
And it had this one vaguely sexual game about like tickling a chick with a feather.
Uh-huh.
And I noticed that they were being coy. They were like, hey, kids, don't click this here, linky winky, wink wink.
Yeah, ooh, not for kiddos, haha, wink.
And I was like, I'm a big tough 8-year-old.
I'm not a kid.
So I fucking clicked on it, and it was like a hardcore BDSM site.
I see.
And the first thing I found was like this dude tied up to like a punching bag.
Uh-huh.
And like, he is rock solid.
I'm sorry to laugh, Joe. It's just the way that you described it. You just went right in there. He's rock solid.
Like, I have still been chasing the high of getting like as hard as that man was at that moment. But like, a chick walks up, and you know the fucking weights they have for like barbells.
Oh.
Uh-huh? Oh no! No!
Oh yeah, she slides that shit right on there.
Does he hold it up?
If I recall, yeah, he does.
Holy shit, powerful cock.
But also, the thought of it was so horrifying to me.
We've done it. We found Chad Thundercock.
We found Chad Thundercock. And that, oh god, that's not even bringing up the whole fucking babysitting cream debacle.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, wasn't it like a few days after that, you and some friends are hanging out on the computer and you watch like a college girl lift her shirt up at a concert, and your friends are just sitting there like, oh, this is so hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so there's like, there's this fucking video on YouTube of Kid Rock at fucking Woodstock '96. I think
Kid
it was.
Rock.
And there's a massive crowd of fucking smelly hippies at Woodstock.
Right.
Yes, there are.
And there's just this one chick with like giant fucking tits.
Milkers.
Massive mommy milkers.
Like, you guys have seen like the size of like my head, right? My fucking watermelon. Like, each one of her tits was like the size of my head.
Damn, bitch.
And she's just like on like, I assume her boyfriend or her friend's shoulders. And like, he's rocking to the beat and it is just fucking sloshing.
Wait, is she shirtless?
Yeah.
Just fucking sloshing.
Yeah, bitch is shirtless and braless.
Oh.
And I'm here having just seen, like, a man get, like, barbell weights put on his dick. My buddy's like, this is the most extreme it can get.
Wow, this is totally hardcore. And, like, Joe's just sitting there, blank expression, elevator music playing in his mind as he re-witnesses.
You should have just been like, oh, you want to see extreme, and just, like, gone back to that video. Just scar everyone around you. You gotta spread the sickness, Joe.
The family only had one computer.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I remember those days.
So... to hide my horrific indiscretions, I would use CC cleaner and just fucking wipe the computer clean.
Joe.
Yeah?
Every time I think that my childhood is weird, y'all just continue to one-up me.
This turtle is in hell, and all you can think about is cum.
I'm sorry? Do you want to run that one by me again, babe?
No.
Understandable, have a nice day.
You're just gonna leave me questioning.
Yeah.
For the rest of my life. Oh, God. Like, I grew up in, of course, I am the oldest on the podcast here. I'm 28. I grew up when fandom on the internet was really, really, really starting to kick off, like late 90s, the 2000s, that kind of era. And, I met my fair share of creeps, but also it was a pretty chill time to be a fan. Like,
yeah.
most of my interactions with people online were positive. People were really chill. Like, of course you had ship wars occasionally, but, like, I was a little too young to really care about that. And every now and then you would get something like the Fantasy House that would pop up. Nowadays, there's a fucking Final Fantasy House every other day.
A Final Fantasy house?
Oh,
Wait,
Joe.
what's a house?
Lee, it's you live in one, bud.
No, I mean in the fandom context, you.
Well, no, it's not in a fan. It is an actual house that they lived in, that these people lived in. Final Fantasy House was like a bunch of, I can't remember if they considered themselves otherkin or like fiction kin before fiction kin was a thing, or if they were just all like extended role playing as Final Fantasy characters. But like a bunch of people who went by Final Fantasy character names and stuff decided that they were gonna move in together, and it was awful. It was filthy. There was zero responsibility taken. The abuse ran rampant. It was an absolute mess, and it's gone down in infamy. Let me see if I can find something. I'm surprised, like, is it Wang or Wong?
Wang?
Yeah, Wang.
WHANG?
I'm
love him. I
surprised
haven't
he
seen
hasn't.
this video.
I'm surprised he hasn't done one. Like, oh no, okay, I think, yeah, Critical did one. Why do I say Critical every time?
Critical.
Because that's how it's spelled.
Yeah, it kind of is. It's all just like,
Hey guys, it's Moist Critical.
Oh god. It's Moist Critical.
I'm gonna contact Charlie and ask him to listen to our podcast.
No, please.
It's your boy,
Okay.
Penguins Zero.
Watch this video later and just you guys need to learn about Final Fantasy House. It was like one of the really big incidents in what I would call early online fandoms.
I'm gonna be real with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Critical, like, as a person, terrifies me.
Is it because he's short?
Yeah. If you're under 5'6", don't talk to me.
Oh, okay.
So, me and Zach are like 5 feet even.
Yeah, I know. This podcast isn't going to work. I don't know how to tell you guys this outside of this way.
Oh, okay.
Like that joke I made in the last podcast where Joe like he said I was short and I was like, and he said Lee was short or something. I was like, well, yeah, don't you know that short people are equipped with powerful legs in order to escape predators? And like neither one of you caught it. Neither one of you even noticed when I said it. And I was like, I got away with that one.
I don't even get it. What's it mean?
Well, because you were talking about how you have powerful legs, and Joe countered with, yeah, but you're short. And so I said, well, don't you know that short people have powerful legs in order to escape predators? And the joke is that I am framing it as if short people are prey animals, while tall people are predatory animals.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was going to be some pedophilia joke.
No!
This is too complex for my brain.
Sweetie, please.
Lee, 9 plus 10.
21.
Babe.
19.
Sweetie! Angel! Darling mine!
Wait, what was the question?
I'm begging you!
9 plus 10!
9 plus 10 is 19!
You said 21 first, bud!
It's not my fault!
I love you very much! Like, just the panicked reaction of 21! Just you were like, I have to say something! 21!
I'm not good at life, okay?
I mean, neither am I.
Oh, Lee, I fucking adore you.
If Joe had put me on the spot like that, I'm gonna be real, I probably would have also said 21.
Zach, 15 plus 37.
Oh, stop! No, I don't know!
50 plus 30, 50 plus 37 is 52.
It's too much! Yeah, it is 52.
Yay!
You were typing it into a calculator, weren't you, Zach?
No, I was actually sitting here thinking, and I was like, oh, fuck. And you put me on the spot. Normally, I would just be like, okay, if I want to do it, like, really easily, I'll just add 10 to 37, and then I'll add the extra 5 after that. But, like, you put me on the spot, so my brain was like, how do we math? How do you do math?
And that's why people lose. Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
I'm not smarter than a 5th grader. 5th grade was when I reached my stride.
Yeah, I peaked in kindergarten.
I don't
get all downhill.
What does the term "you peaked in something" mean? Like
you've reached your best.
You have achieved the pinnacle.
It is quite literally all downhill from here.
I mean, if you're talking about, like, the way fucking TERFs use it when they say that it's peak trans, basically what they mean by peak is that you've sort of reached the limit of your tolerance for other human beings, and now you realize that, in fact, trans people are the enemy, and so you become a TERF like them.
Wait, what?
I thought that's what you were referring to.
Me?
No, Lee.
With what?
Lee, you
Yeah?
asked a question. Do you remember what question you asked me, sweetie?
No.
Lee, you asked me, what is it mean when people say that you peek at something?
Oh, I remember now.
Then Joe explained, and I also explained the way that TERFs and other bigots use it, because I thought maybe that was how you meant it, like you would seen a TERF use it or something.
Sorry, I just saw a pic of this James Friedman turning someone into a boxer.
What?
Oh yeah, no. The dude where it's like people are like, "Hey, can you Photoshop me into this?" And then he like just says,
okay, yeah.
he's just like, "Yeah, sure," and he just does basically jack shit.
Yeah, love that guy.
Well, he does really good jobs, but he's like doesn't do what they want exactly. He like takes it very literally.
It's
like me.
It's like dealing with an actual fucking genie. Like, you better word that the exact way you want, otherwise he is going to twist it on you.
I sometimes lie awake at night and, like, come up with the ways that I am going to one day phrase my requests to a genie.
I do that every night.
Glad we're on the same wavelength!
Sometimes I lay awake at night and think about how once I'm skinny, I'll get a boyfriend.
Lee!
Like, I don't leave the house except for maybe once a month, effectively.
But you're ready for those genies.
Yeah, I am prepared for a genie.
I think that's the only thing in life I might be even remotely prepared for, is meeting a genie.
Like, Joe, we're out of food and usable water. Oh, well, that sucks. Joe, we found a genie. This is what I've been training for.
I've got this! For once in my life, I know what to do!
See, the thing is that the genie's still gonna fuck you over somehow.
No. There are ways that you can phrase your requests, your wishes in such a way that the genie will begrudgingly have to grant them in the exact way you want.
I've met some genies. They will find a way.
Look. The way I figured it out is just use your first wish to make the genie stop being such a pedantic prick.
Okay, my first wish is, don't be a dick.
Genie's like, fuck.
Cock gone. Joe, that was a bit of a delayed reaction.
Dickent.
I don't know why Dickent just really got me. I love this new meme of just adding int to the end of words to, like, negate them. It's very good.
I'm gonna fucking play a game on fucking live on podcast.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna play Little Nightmares so I can scream incoherently.
Oh, that's such a good game. Also, Little Nightmares 2. Good game.
Yes, I also have that one.
Play both of them. They're both good.
I will.
Good. I've been laughing so much that I'm hot. I'm warm. I'm toasty.
Oh, Zach, you're always hot.
Aww. Ooh, wah. Lee, what are you doing? Lee is just completely silent, and I'm afraid.
Oh, I was reading a green text.
God, why am I not surprised?
Be me. Work with children ages 7 to 10. Coworkers constantly tell me I do the best job out of everyone. Love them. It's a lot of fun. When I talk to them, I get down to their level to talk face to face because they are small. One day, one of their moms shows up. Very short. Must have been 5 feet tall, or maybe even less. Out of habit, I get down to her level. She looks at me weird. I immediately realize in panic. Pretend to untie and then tie my shoe again like an autist. Her daughter didn't come back the next week or ever again.
No!
God, we're gonna have to censor that.
Why are we gonna have to censor it?
Because you used the word, you know.
I'm autistic.
I mean, that is true. Lee is autistic. They are allowed to use.
Oh, thank God, I can say.
Okay,
Joe,
I will be censoring. I will be. I will be censoring that. They'll just be. You'll. Okay. Anyway, so new subject.
I'm allowed to say the word retard. I'm not sure Joe is. Please censor that, Lee.
Who's gonna stop me?
Censor it all. Please, God.
Who's gonna stop me? Dream stands?
No, not Dream again. We already talked about Dream. Oh, God, phlegm. Allergies.
Isn't that what they called that one French bitch in Harry Potter?
Phlegm allergies, yeah.
Yeah, Fleur Delacour.
Why did they call her phlegm?
Because when you talk in a French accent, it sounds a little phlegmy.
Phlegm.
Like, as someone who took French,
Yeah.
from an actual person who like is straight up French, I can confirm that sometimes it sounds a little phlegmy.
No, please, not the shoe witch.
No,
Can I
please,
get an
not the
ice
phlegm.
regular and a strawberry fasted?
What the fuck did you just say to me?
Oh
The
no!
fuck did you just call me?
Lee, did you just commit a hate crime?
Just call me a slur, God.
No, I just a Tumblr.
I'm sorry, the long-armed janitor and Little Nightmares, right?
We're doing a podcast and we just hear like the most genuine bellow of fear from Joe.
It still does not match up to the Garfield scream.
God, I wish I had been present for the Garfield scream.
Yeah.
Like, just the sheer primality of it.
Aw, Garfield Goodard.
What a little robot. You went a little robot there, so it sounded like you said Garfield Goodard.
Garfield Gooder is my new personality disorder.
Garfield Gooders is your new personality disorder.
I forgot what you call it. It's where you have like different personalities.
Oh, your new headmate?
Yeah, Garfield Gooder. He's a politician from the 1800s.
Garfield Gooder is my new headmate. To anyone who has DID or any personality disorder out there, I hope that you don't take this as us making fun of you. It's not. It's just that the image of having someone named Garfield Gooder as a headmate is pretty fun. I get it. I'm also quite mentally ill. It's just Garfield Gooder in your head is very funny.
Yeah, we're not making fun of you, just secondly.
No, please, no, God.
So the thing now I'm worried about, because like hearing Gooder, I keep thinking it's like a slur or something.
Oh, I hope it's not.
Oh no, it's reminding me of Cooter.
Well, Cooter isn't a slur, so
Yet.
Turfs probably think it is.
Oh!
I'm still losing
The
my
janitor's
mind.
back.
I'm still losing my mind over Garfield Gooders.
Garfield Gooder's Cooter.
God, no, please, no. I'm begging you.
Gotta get that alliteration in.
Christ, Jesus Christ.
Don't bring him into this.
Don't bring our Lord and Savior into this.
He doesn't deserve this.
Oh, the year of our Lord and Savior, 2021. Garfield Gooders was born. August 16th, 2021. Remember the date. Oh, that turtle is just going.
That turtle is in hell, and all you can think about is...
I get it now. I see the post that you made. You really do just be going.
Oh, Joe, I have a thing for you real quick.
Holy shit.
1 second.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh!
Oh, rapidly spinning Gengar.
You spin me right round, baby, right round.
Okay,
Like a Gengar, baby.
So the thing is, I'm picturing like a Nightcore version of that song as this plays.
Yeah! I mean,
So it's just like he's spinning right around, baby, right around. I don't remember the lyrics.
just the ADHD version.
I'm gonna be honest, I still listen to Nightcore.
Oh,
I don't know, but there's something about it where it's like it's better for me to focus on something when I'm listening to Nightcore.
I never really liked or understood Nightcore, but every time I did hear a Nightcore song, as someone with ADHD, I was always just like, "Oh, that's just the ADHD version of this song."
I'm not gonna lie. The Nightcore version of Rockefeller Street is far superior to the OG.
I've realized what I must do. I've connected the dots.
You haven't connected shit.
I've
is it?
connected the dots.
Joe, what have you done?
I have to lure Fuck Arms McGee over here.
Oh, fuck Arms McMike.
With his fucking long, spindly arms.
Fuck Arms McHard Mike.
Look,
Okay,
The funniest person in the universe.
So back on the subject of farts, I have a new green text.
Oh, I'm gonna get you.
Be in 8th grade. Have secret fart wars with a guy from 7th grade. Whenever we pass each other in the school, we would fart at each other when nobody was around, or make slow movements like secret agents to fart unnoticed.
Yeah, that
We
tracks.
make more and more risky maneuvers trying to out-fart each other. One day I see him standing alone, standing in the middle of the schoolyard. Sprint towards him, grab him by the jacket, and let him look for rancid foul fart blast out my ass. Stand there victorious and proud over his shallow husk. Suddenly he bursts into tears of laughter. I'm not gonna say the word that's posted next, but it's just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Turn around. Headmistress is walking close by and stands there staring at me with faces shock and disgust. Guy is literally rolling on the floor laughing. I parent him run away with tears in my eyes.
This woman,
This was
she's
the day
having
I
a rough
defeated
day.
myself in the fart wars. Haven't farted since.
Haven't farted since at all.
He just
ever.
hasn't. He just holds it in and lets it come back up as a burp.
Oh, that's disgusting. Ew. Ew. Ew.
Yeah.
That headmistress had the worst day of her life.
I would see that stuff. I'd just be like, oh, boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. This is what they mean when they say boys will be boys.
Yeah, fart wars.
This is the true boys will be boys.
well, actually, that's heroin.
Boys will be boys shoots up heroin.
Yeah. Okay, so what is the most boys will be boys story you have from school?
You do shoot heroin, right?
Yes.
I always lose track of which ones you shoot directly into your veins, and which ones you sniff, and which ones you smoke.
And
Well,
which
sniffing
one-
and smoking are the same thing.
And which ones you put in your anus.
I'm sorry, Lee, did you say sniffing and smoking are the same thing?
Yeah, it's inhaling.
I'm gonna inhale you. Anyway, I'm trying to think of a boys will be boys moment. But
Joe, do you have any?
1 minute.
Oh, who was 1 minute?
there was the time one of my friends just he was crossing the street. There was this bus coming, and the rest of us were like, no, we will not cross the street. But this dude, he was like, I'm going. And we were just like, no. And he was like, I'm going. And he just runs out. And the bus is right there. And he just ninjas his way right out of just right across the street. Like, we could not, this was the most this was the most incredible display of acrobatics you have ever seen from a high schooler. But it was only one boy, so it really wasn't boys will be boys. It was boy will be boy. The man risked his life to get across the street faster. And I get it.
Once had an old air mattress.
Uh-huh.
And, Not an air mattress, it was a waterbed, rather.
God, I want a water.
Oh, I think I know the story. Go on.
And I've always been quite the husky lad.
A musky husky?
I decided I'm gonna quit the podcast.
I was just waiting for there to be like a knock on my window, and Joe has come across the country to take me out.
Okay, but go on about your waterbed story. Did you like cut a hole in it and try to fuck it?
I don't think that's boys will be boys. I think that's just what the fuck.
Remember that person that I knew on Tumblr who fucked a bagel?
No, I didn't.
Is it all like the chicken sandwich dude from McDonald's?
Anyway, go on, Joe. Go on, Joe.
One moment.
Well, in the meantime, I'll just talk about the bagel real quick.
Okay.
Never mind. Go on, Joe.
Go on, Joe. Go on.
I had these two fucking thin buddies of mine. Earl and Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Earl.
Yeah, Earl.
Fucking Earl.
I think I do remember this story now.
What we did is my parents took like the tire pump they use for filling up the car tires and just filled that bitch with air.
The waterbed?
Yeah.
So it became... Where did the water go?
We drained it.
Okay, I was wondering if it had in fact been drained.
Slurped it up.
Yeah, the waterbed was my bed, but I learned waterbeds get ungodly hot.
Oh.
Which is weird because you think the water would cool it.
Yeah, and I would just wake up drenched in sweat.
Are you sure it wasn't the water?
100%, it had no holes in it.
Osmosis. Anyways, go on.
So we would play a little game where they would sit on one end, and I would run and jump onto the other end, and send them a solid 7 feet into the air.
That's peak Boys Will Be Boys.
And because I weighed more than both of them combined, I would then sit on my end, and they would both come running and jump max speed and velocity, hit their end, and I would bounce 2 inches.
Oh, that's peak Boys Will Be Boys. I love it. You know what isn't peak Boys Will Be Boys? Someone sticking their dick in a bagel.
Wait, can I not tell my story? Do I not get to?
No, go ahead. I just wanted to remind everyone once again that I knew someone on Tumblr who stuck their dick in a bagel.
Okay, Bagel Boy.
No, it wasn't me! I'm not Bagel Boy!
Bagel Boy. But, so some of the... I've been thinking on it for a bit now, what's a peak Boys Will Be Boys story from my high school days / middle school days. Cause in elementary school, it's not really boys will be boys, it's children will be children.
Yeah.
Because both girls and boys, I don't care what anyone says, both are equally feral as children.
Yes, that is 100% true.
But in high school, so I think I was in 10th grade, and one of these boys limps into class. And the teacher was one of the cooler teachers who actually gave a fuck about her students. And so, she was like, what the hell happened? And he's like, oh, I jumped off the 2nd floor. And so it comes out now that, several boys from this class, at least around solid 10 of them, have been taking turns jumping off the 2nd floor into the lobby of the 1st floor. And... my teacher got really upset with them. You can fracture your spine doing that, even if you land on your feet. And it later turned out that dude had actually broken his foot and was just walking around all day on it. Just I stepped on it wrong, I guess.
I love cis boys because they are so determined to harm themselves in the name of fun. Like, I just...
Yeah, it's genuinely why we have, like, a shorter life expectancy.
I love how absolutely fearless they are until they reach a certain age and eventually adult maturity kind of kicks in. But from like the ages of like 10 to like 25, cis men they have death wishes, but not because they hate living, specifically because they love living and they want to have as much fun as humanly possible.
And they will let themselves die in the name of fun.
It's so pure. Like, that's the true essence of Boys Will Be Boys. So good.
Gosh, Boys Will Be Boys.
I can think of sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, can't wait to get called out for saying this.
Okay, go on.
Uh-huh.
No, for saying Boys Will Be Boys.
No.
Oh god. No, I think it's like generally like a thing now that like people on the internet like think that Boys Will Be Boys needs to mean like it needs to mean
things that aren't shitty,
aren't harming other people and women.
Yeah, like boys hitting girls and shit because they like you. Boys will be boys. That's stupid. I never liked it. I had an experience with a Boys Will Be Boys moment. My mom insists to this day that this kid liked me and that I should not have confronted him when he sat in my friend's chair and very rudely told her to sit somewhere else. She's like, oh, well, he liked you. It was just Boys Will Be Boys, He wanted to be near you. He was just picking on you because he liked you. And I'm just like, I don't fucking care. Fuck him.
So here's the thing. Picking on someone because you like them it's not like that's only viable when you are already good friends and are like in that like and can comfortably tease each other. Yeah, that does not apply to people who maybe have talked twice before.
Yeah, like this was one of my friend's older brothers, and like I'd talk to him, but I didn't really know him, and we certainly weren't at a point where he could like be rude to my friends and me just be like, okay, well, let's talk this out. I was like, no, I'm gonna threat display this motherfucker. And I grabbed the handle of his backpack and I gave it just like the lightest tug in all my life. And for a little guy, surprisingly strong, but I very specifically wanted it to not pull him out of his chair. Because that wasn't what I was going for. I was just trying to give him a little spook. This man, he just like threw himself out of his chair practically. I mean, he just fell all over the floor. I was just like, bruh.
He ragdolled.
And like he did, he ragdolled. And like at the end of the day, when we were getting off the bus, there was this kid who shouted, "There's the girl who beat up Little Jay!"
Little Jay.
I was just like, I didn't beat him up. All I did was accidentally ragdoll him out of his chair because he took it from my friend and was being a dick.
Oh man, that reminds me of the time I punched a dude in kindergarten.
Hell yeah!
No, first grade it was. So I remember it was like winter or something, and I was just like, being a little shit of a kid because kids are feral. And I was like just kind of like whirling around because I was like, oh yeah, I get to go home. And I like had my elbows out and I was gonna like the kid in front of me, he was always a dick to me. So I was like, I'm gonna elbow him in the back. And so I'm sticking around and I begin to do that. He turns around. I knock him right in the eye.
And give
him a black eye. And in retaliation, he sucker punches me not sucker punch. He punches me as hard as he could in the stomach. And so like the teacher like turns around, like at first everyone was like chatting happily, and suddenly she just like turns around and there's two little gremlins fighting.
There's two little gremlins just going for the throat.
And so she like drags us away and she's like, it's too, like, you guys are with this now. We're gonna send you to counselors tomorrow. And I go home, and my parents had received a call.
Oh no.
So here's the thing. They were like, what happened? We heard you like got in a fight. Of course, they were both really pissed off, but here's the part where I being a little shit comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
I start crying.
Oh yeah.
I start crying really hard. And I say, it was an accident. I didn't mean to, like, I accidentally hit him while I was, like, jumping up and down, and he just punched me back, and the teacher refused to listen to me.
Yeah, I remember pulling that stuff.
They bought it. The counselor bought it too, because I was the girl and he was the boy. And so, she was like, I don't remember like exactly what she told him because I wasn't there for the entire lecture. Because she was like, "Okay, you can leave," but she was like, she like said something to him like, "I know that sometimes you don't know what to do with like girls you like, but you can't hit punch them." And I was just sitting there leaving like, I got out of it. I punched him in the eye and lived. And so,
God.
Troy, if you remember this at all, because we were like 8 or something, 7 maybe.
Troy,
I'm not.
you.
I'm not sorry because you really were a dick to me all the time. But
his name
just know you got. You got.
You got. I envy other AFABs who had like solidarity growing up because like girls were some of the most vicious and conniving people I knew, and I was vicious and conniving.
Well, I mean, you just saw right there that I was kind of too. Yeah, I was like I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just gonna lie.
I had been raised, socially perceived as a girl. Everyone treated me like I was a girl. I grew up with girls, and so, of course, I quote unquote acted. There's like no specific way to act like a girl, but rather than being more physical like boys tend to be with their shittiness, I was a little more tactical. And I also used to do like the crocodile tears to get out of trouble. And my parents wouldn't always buy it, but I knew that if they wouldn't buy it, then my aunt and my uncle, my mom's brother and sister, they absolutely would. They would always have my back 100%. I got out of some interesting little patches, some little scrapes, thanks to them. Thanks to being a sneaky bitch.
See, that's like something. So that's something like is like, yeah, men are generally tend to be more physical with their things, but then like, something I've noticed is that males can usually make up quicker after that because like once you throw a few punches and then like it's all said and done, like, oh yeah, women and AFAB people in general, grudges.
Oh yeah, like
I
God.
still have a grudge against girls in middle school.
Same, like, I mean, I don't necessarily have a grudge against girls in middle school because, like, I'm kind of like, we were stupid kids. Like, I do. Need to get over it.
When they come to the gas station I work at, I give them the sticky gross change that's ripped up and stained.
I guess the difference is that number one, I live in a more highly densely populated area, and I have thusly, like, I've seen a girl from my high school maybe twice since graduating. So I've had a lot of time away from them to cool down and be like, okay, it's whatever. I do remember one incident that I don't think I'll ever forget because at the time it shocked me so much. When I was in elementary school, it was like 3rd or 4th grade. There were these 2 girls who didn't like me, and I'm not sure why they didn't like me because we didn't really interact very much. I mean, they just had never seemed interested in being my friends. It's because you're weird. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in the weird group. And one day I left class to go and get a drink of water, And these two girls came out after me, and one of them held me and the other one punched me in the stomach, and like they said some mean stuff to me. I can't exactly remember, but I had no idea why they had done that. They didn't do it again, and I never told anyone. I just was kind of like, okay, guess that happened. And then years later in high school, the girl who had punched me walked by and said, "Oh, I like your highlights." And like, I think that was a really formative moment for me, because I was like, no one else, like, they don't even remember this. Like, it's so insignificant. It doesn't matter. And so I was like, any anger or like resentment I felt towards her just kind of disappeared in that moment.
So it just takes a really mediocre.
Here's the thing, I hear that, and I'm thinking like, so what I think about that, Zach, they didn't hear it, they don't give a shit about you. And that's a reason to be angry at them. And you know what? If you ever see them, I want you to punch him in the stomach.
It's just, it wasn't the compliment or the quality of the compliment or anything like that. I could care less about the compliment. I knew I looked good. It was just
see the bass.
I'm gay. Shut up. It was just more the fact that she had moved on with her life. She no longer held whatever hatred she had for me. And I just no longer felt the need to hold any hatred for her. I was like, it happened so long ago. I mean, I'm surprised I even remember it with my horrible memory.
So
it's just time to let go. And so I did.
There's something I hold a grudge against still to this day that happened a much longer time ago.
Uh-huh.
So I was probably around 7 or something, and I was just at the park with my siblings. And I was like, there was like a pole that was holding up the slide, and I was just like holding onto it and like running around it, you know, going really, like running as fast as I could, like, hell yeah, hell yeah,
hell yeah,
fastest
hell yeah.
boy. And a dude comes up to me, my age, maybe a little younger, maybe a little older. He just yells, "Stupid girl," and socks me in the stomach and runs away.
Stupid dog, you make me look bad.
But I think back to that moment sometimes. And I'm like, that kid probably grew up to be a wife-beating cop.
I
hate that kid. I want him to suffer. And it's like people are like, if people like who are like saying heard this, they'd be like, weren't you like 7? And I'd be like, yeah.
And we worry on the sociopath.
So the thing is like, people are always like, oh, but they were just a kid being a kid. And it's like, thing is like, I was a kid too, wasn't I? I wasn't going around punching people.
Yeah, some kids are bigger dicks than others. But eventually, like, it just got to a point in my life where I was like, I just can't keep holding on to that anger from when we were children. I just need to let it go. And I felt better after I let it go.
I didn't.
Yeah, meanwhile, Lee's like, never forgive. Yeah,
never forget.
I spit on your grave.
Honestly, yeah, if I heard one of them died, I probably wouldn't even like. I'd probably
always keep your demons on leash.
This one fucking 7-year-old dies.
Not the 7-year-old. I'm talking about the girls in like middle and high school. Like, if I heard one of them died, I just wouldn't care. I don't think I would be like, shouldn't have been a bitch to me.
But yeah, you do bring up a good point about like the quote-unquote AFAB experience. Obviously, everyone has very unique experiences, but at least in my experience growing up, it seemed like a lot of AFAB people who were socially perceived as girls had a lot of similar experiences, and one of them definitely that has continued even into my adult life is just that it is so much harder to just make up with other AFAB people. Like, I mean, like, me and Joe, if we have a scuffle in, like, 5 minutes, we're fine. But any of my AFAB friends that I've ever had any issues with, it's always turned into just this massive thing, and I've always just been like, please no, can we not turn this into a massive thing? Because I'm I'm simultaneously
I
the
remember...
most confrontational and the most non-confrontational person in the world. I'm terrified of confrontation.
Yeah, I think I remember something like this. Something like this has happened like a few times on Tumblr now, and I know people are like, "Oh, Tumblr drama, what?" But like, shit can get wild on there.
Shit can get wild on Tumblr. Yeah, it's a couple of times, yes, has happened. And there have also been a couple of times with some AMAB friends where this has happened, mostly because, like,
We're gay.
Once you get on Tumblr, Tumblr just gives you brain rot. And now that's kind of moved over to Twitter a bit more. Like, Twitter is having discourse that Tumblr had in 2013, 2014, 2016, that kind of era.
So the thing is, though, is now that, like, we've lived through that and we were involved in it and stuff, and now that we're seeing it happening again, we're just so tired.
This is exhausting. Like I see people abandoning Twitter and coming back to Tumblr, and they're reigniting the discourse that we already had on Tumblr 10 years ago. And I'm like, no, not again.
It's like, we've discussed this. A white person getting a tan is not racist. It's just what happened.
A white person going to the beach and coming home slightly darker is natural. Please. It's like just the most inane bullshit that no one cares about offline. But our two generations are just unfortunately terminally online. And
I will admit, when like a white girl comes into the holiday, and if she's wearing like the cowboy boots and she's got like that orange tan, I want to steam. I want to steam vac her, just like, you know,
the Trump tan.
See the white.
Just give her a little cleaning.
Yeah, just a little pressure washing.
Like, if that, I do remember that discourse. It was like over Chris Pratt, in Jurassic World. Like, he tanned while he was on the set, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he like put on fake tan to play a darker skinned character." And it was like, that's not what's happening.
If you want a brown person in the movie, just hire a brown person.
And it was like, these people would freak the fuck out if I showed them a picture, a winter picture and a summer picture from when I was a kid, because holy shit, am I a completely different person when I tan.
Well, Zach, that's the thing. They never see the sun, so they don't know what a tan actually is.
I guess maybe they would try to excuse it with like, yeah, well, you're native, so it's fine. And it's like, well, no! Please, no, don't move the goalposts, I'm begging you. I'm having a really hard time playing goalie when you keep moving these goalposts all over the place.
No, that's the nature of online discourse, though. You state the thing, and then when someone says, wait, what about this? You just, like, pick up the goalpost with you and your cronies and you just, like, run across the town with
chuck them.
Yeah, it'd be like if during like the Super Bowl.
And unfortunately, a lot of these spaces where online discourse is really common, a lot of it, like most of them are largely comprised of young AFAB people. And, you know, I was fresh out of high school when I first got on Tumblr, and that was when discourse on there was really taking off. And I got sucked into it really, really easily. And so I find myself worrying a lot. Of course, I worry for AMAB people, boys, trans girls, anyone who...
trans women, trans girl is infantilizing, and...
Shut up!
Shut up!
I'm gonna kill you!
But Zach, answer me this. Do you support people with one giant hand?
No.
What the fuck?
I mean...
How are you gonna jack off with that?
Very easily, I imagine.
I mean, it's one giant hand, and you would expect that it's very powerful.
Yeah, but then you just like get a flat dick.
You rip your dick off, clean off.
It's just like a power saw.
You are so close. You're about to come. You're just like, oh, and then just the sound of flesh tearing.
No, it's not even that. It's just like a.
Update, guys.
Yeah.
I've cut the janitor's arms off.
Oh, great, yeah, that happens. Oh, by the way, Joe is playing Little Nightmares. He is not, like, being trapped in a school by a janitor.
Yeah, no, he has not actually cut a real janitor's arms off.
What do you mean I haven't?
Oh no.
Can confirm I'm the janitor. Just lost my arms.
Writing call out post now. At least I want to, but I have to use text to speech.
Yeah, I'm text to speeching a call out post right now. I'm typing with my toes.
I'm yelling a call out post to my Twitter.com.
Siri, post to Twitter.com. That at .tumblr.
Don't give them my Tumblr. Edit that out quick.
I can't edit it out. Do you really not want people to know your Tumblr?
Yeah, I don't want anyone to know my Tumblr.
Yeah, Zach's main stipulation is nobody gets to know any of his socials.
No one is allowed to know that I exist other than on this podcast.
So that's why I was wondering why you didn't share our podcast on your social media. I was like,
yeah, no,
you could get us an audience, and you're just not.
No, I don't want anybody to know. I talk about very controversial things on my blog.
I don't want to be perceived.
Meanwhile, I have my Twitter just loaded with bad takes connected to this shit.
Meanwhile, my Twitter's just full of gay porn and anime boobs.
Anyway,
genders.
I do worry about young people, young AFAB people in general, getting onto social media, and social media is very important. I wasn't really on social media when I was a minor, but I did have websites that I used where I could meet people and talk to people and have sort of a social circle online. And it was very important. It was important for me to have that escape. But also, social media websites are just rife with the coldest takes, the most aggressive discourse, people who will dox you in the blink of an eye. I mean, recently there was this group of adults who were planning on doxing a 13-year-old because they chipped something they didn't like anime characters, and it was I'd always known that this kind of thing was going on, but it was really an eye-opener to me to actually see the screen caps of the way they talked about this 13-year-old and how they were going to ruin this kid's life, and they were going to get the parents involved, and they were going to try and drag every little drop of this kid's trauma out of them, and they were totally going to dox them. Well, first they were going to threaten to dox them so that maybe they would get off the internet, and it was just it just makes me so afraid for young people getting on social media because the discourse is so fucked up and wild.
So here's the thing, is that people, if anyone whoever happens to listen to this either in the far future or maybe, I don't know, you just find it on Spotify and need something to fall asleep to. Internet discourse, hardly any of it matters in real life.
Yeah.
That's something I like about going to work, and I actually do enjoy my job, but so it's that I can go to work and none of my customers or coworkers, even the one who also is a big nerd like me, cares about the ethics of anime boobs and the standards they have placed for women. It's just oh yeah, I like this game, and they're haha, titties, nice, and then we move on.
No one cares about fucking jiggle physics in the real world. No one cares about
or something. What else?
No one cares about if you like this character or not, and if it is problematic to like that character or not. It's just almost none of the discourse that you find online, whether it's LGBT plus discourse, fandom discourse.
Fat?
I'm sorry?
Oh, not you. Sorry, I'm the chefs and fucking Little Nightmares.
Yeah, they're chunky. LGBT plus / queer discourse, fandom discourse, any discourse that you can imagine for any demographic, generally speaking, does not fucking matter offline. And I wish that there was a way to really get that through young people's heads, because no one told me that when I was fresh out of high school and getting involved in that stuff. And it fucked me up getting involved in anti-SJW bullshit. I had so much self-loathing, internalized transphobia and homophobia that I had to deal with. My entire life for a while became Tumblr and talking like an anime villain for 10 paragraphs.
What do you mean became? It still is.
Shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up.
That's like, there's also the thing is like the art, it like what I refer to as like, and a lot of people refer to them as this, but like I only just heard and I started using is armchair activism.
Oh yeah.
I will say, if you are online and your support for trans folk, or LGBT folk or anyone chalks up to changing your icon to show that and making headcanons and fighting people to death on like how they identify a character or something,
Yeah.
you are not a good activist at all. You are doing nothing for the movement that you are supporting. And so you need to get off like the high horse of that. If you really want to help, there's a ton of ways. You can donate. If you don't have the money, there's volunteer. There is literally like so many ways that don't involve harassing and belittling and hurting others.
And in a lot of cases, hurting the people that you claim to support and protect.
Yeah.
I've like, as a trans person on the internet, I have been attacked from all sides for various reasons. And as a trauma survivor, you know, getting a little personal on the podcast, I'm not going to go into detail, but, you know, trauma. As a trauma survivor, I've been involved in what I like to call fandom wank. Not heavily. I mean, back in the day, I was a little more heavily involved, but I never really got deep down in there. But one thing I did notice was that every single person who claimed to care about trauma survivors, no matter what side they were on of the debate, they just didn't. The instant a trauma survivor didn't agree with them, that survivor was just thrown under the bus, threatened,
They aren't
harassed.
a real trauma survivor, they're a bad trauma survivor.
Yeah, they aren't the good kind. Like, there's no winning with internet discourse, and I'm terrified of the next generation just ending up like me, only 10 times worse because they got started even earlier and internalized all of the bullshit I internalized even earlier at really formative points in their life.
We should probably also say that because it was kind of alluded to, but like put it out there for people who have like issues. But there is no such thing as being like a bad or a good trauma survivor, a bad or a good gay person or anything. You are simply just that.
You
like,
just are.
The idea of like you being a bad one or a good one is entirely something on the internet that people will just use in an argument against you.
It's
over
just,
like anime politics.
It's I mean, like, much as I hate to say this, even people like Milo Yiannopoulos, or however you say his name, he's not a quote unquote bad gay. He's just a gay guy who happens to be a huge, massive dick. Like, there's never a bad way to belong to a demographic. There are sometimes bad people who belong to the demographic, if that makes sense. So I just kind of hate it when I see things like, oh, well, he's a bad gay, or, you know, he's a bad queer, or something like that.
People who will say something homophobic and then they'll tack on white gay or gay.
God. And it's like, I can very much agree that there is kind of this, a lot of gay communities do.
This tiger has a fat ass.
A lot of...
Sorry.
Shut up. Shut up.
Let's not go on about this. So...
A lot of gay communities do have issues with racism. They have issues with, I've seen it called like femphobia before, where, of course, you know, feminine men are viewed as gross, abnormal, etc., and are thereby treated as lesser. You know, just a variety of forms of bigotry. But, you know, to also... there's just something that really rubs me the wrong way about saying a white gay or a white trans or a white queer, because I kind of get where they're coming from. It's like an attempt to sort of point out the the overwhelming whiteness of a lot of these groups and the way that a lot of these groups kind of prioritize white people.
The moment it's like white gays are so feminine, it's like
stuff like that, where like they just straight up, so many of them just straight up say something homophobic or transphobic or queerphobic or ableist or anything, and then they tack white onto it. Like, I remember recently there was a big issue with this woman was being treated just horribly for some minor infraction on the internet, and the amount of misogyny that was being thrown at her was hideous, and people excused it by saying, well, she's a white woman. Doesn't matter, you're still being misogynistic. Like, misogyny doesn't stop existing when society takes a look at you and says, oh, well, you're pale enough. I mean, there's always going to be some level of misogyny that women experience. And even trans men and trans masks like me, I grew up with misogyny. I, to this day, experience misogyny because of the way society perceives me. So I don't know. There's this very black and white kind of view that a lot of internet discourse relies on. And people are so afraid to admit that a lot of issues are more complex, there's a lot more gray area, that they cling to it. And that's another reason why I'm so fucking scared for, like, the younger generation getting involved with social media really early, because social media can be great. It can just be, like, a lifesaver. But it can also be something that really fucks you up for a really long time, like it did me. I'm still fucked up. I've still got toxic ideas that were implanted in my young
you think
mind.
that me playing anime boob games is horrible. Toxic fact. I'm your friend, aren't I?
Not at this rate.
I respect your right to play anime boob games, but I also respect my right to look at those jiggle physics and be like,
I also respect my right to make fun of you for playing them.
Lee, I'm glad that you have things that make you happy.
Yeah.
It's just that those jiggle physics are so...
They don't make you happy, though, so they are bad.
No, it's just that they're...
Basically, take 2 blobs of Jell-O, put them on a plate. That's what's happening when these girls are just standing around.
Yeah, they're just standing there, and the Jell-O is a jiggling.
And it's 6 gyrating gelatins to Sebastian's ass cheek clean off.
I hope this email blasts your tits clean off.
Martha.
God, we really just go from hee-hee funny to, like, serious, like, please kids be careful on social media, there's a lot of fucked up shit on there, to hee-hee funny again, like, super fast.
I think the internet just has a lot of funny stuff.
It does. It has a lot of funny stuff, and it also has a lot of dangerous stuff, so I guess I'd like to, move on from the more,
so I do have...
subject matter by signing off with, just be careful on the internet. Try not to take everything you see on there so seriously. Have fun with it.
I do have another topic here. It's not as serious. Did you guys know LiveLeak was taken down?
Oh, really?
It was taken down like in 2017.
No, I didn't know that. Oh. I mean, I never. So it wasn't like
video, but
it wasn't like I kept up with it or anything. I just knew it existed somewhere.
Okay. For those who don't know, because like you're 12 or something. If you're 12, you probably shouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah, plug your ears, kids.
Go watch some Minecraft YouTubers, but
no, don't do that.
No, don't. Please, God.
Corrales is pretty good.
Yeah, I like Corrales.
But
go watch the Northern Lion.
Oh, I love Northern Lion. Yeah, go watch him.
Go watch Moist Critical.
No, that might be a little too old, a little too mature. Go on, Lee.
LiveLeak was essentially it was kind of like YouTube, and that was a video hosting site, but there was really no holds, no like limit to the content, as long as it wasn't like...
They didn't pull their punches, they didn't really ban anything, you could just post what you wanted, it was a free-for-all big ball.
So, things I've seen on there before is like bodies that were drowning and then they got run over by a boat, so like the intestines are floating in the water. executions in like Sudan and like other like stuff. You could see heads getting chopped off there if you wanted to. But yeah, basically the creator of it ended up just taking it down. It wasn't like pulled from the internet or anything and such. So I think he said he was like fucking sick of like how
Sorry, go on.
I think he said something about wait 1 second, let me look at this article real quick.
I wouldn't be able to run a site like that. Eventually I would just look at the kind of content that was on there and just be like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want people to see these things. I don't want to be a source for people to see these things. Like these are these are like live streams of people dying, and it's just so morbid.
So Hayden Hewitt, the creator of LiveLeak and founder and like owner, his explicit reason for the closure was the world has changed a lot over these last few years. The internet alongside it, and we as people, it's like they didn't really have it in them to carry on fighting to keep LiveLeak up, like with all the way the world was changing. Everything's different now. Everyone moves on, and I quote unquote, I don't fucking like it. I liked it much better when it was the Wild West. And I'm like, part of me is like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like so much stuff tries to get censored now on the internet just because people don't like it. And
yeah, what I'd really like to see is, I say this, but I know it wouldn't practically work because kids are going to be kids, teens are going to be teens, but there needs to be spaces for adults and spaces for non-adults. And that isn't to say that they can't ever interact in certain parts of the internet, but there also do need to be areas of the internet that straight up are not for kids. You can't use them. You know, like, there, and I mean, there already are. There are adult sites that kids just lie about their ages to get into.
Yeah,
but there's a little bit too much looseness on most sites. Most sites will just throw kids and 50-year-olds together and be like, yeah, this is fine. And I just don't think that we as a people are ready for that specific kind of Wild West. So, too many bad things happen to kids on the internet. And kids on the internet, honestly, do too many bad things to adults, too. So I think that there needs to be spaces that are uncensored, very adult, things that older people can handle. Just like go wild, as long as it's not, like illegal, like child exploitation, things like that.
Look here, I will wash my fucking donkey in Virginia on a Saturday whenever I fucking want.
Well, that's and then on the other side, you have a more heavily regulated experience. In particular for teens, not so heavily regulated that they can't grow up healthy, sort of explore themselves, but, with other teens. But, it would be more heavily censored because at that age, you kind of do need to be a little more heavily censored, particularly when it comes to the internet. And I think that would both solve a lot of problems and cause new ones. They don't have answers to the new ones it would cause, but just as an adult on the internet, the idea of having an adult space where children are not, where teenagers are not, appeals to me so much.
Like, I think there also needs to be a thing where if a teenager or child lies about their age, gets into these spaces and stuff, the people they interact with have to be protected.
Yeah,
because there's no way for them to really know that these are not adults.
Yeah, because I mean, I know that I lied when I was a teen. We talked about this on the last podcast, about when teenagers lie about their ages. I lied about my age when I was a teen. Not to people. Like, even when I lied to get on, like, adult role-playing websites and stuff, generally speaking, I would come clean to the people I talked to and actually role-played with, and you know, they never ratted me out. So, some of them were like, well, you know, I'm quite a bit older than you, so I can't RP with you. The really creepy thing is that a lot of these women were just like, yeah, let's write porn together, 13-year-old. But, you know, at the same time, I shouldn't have been on there. But,
They
but
should have
I
reported
did lie
you and just, like, gotten you kicked off.
Yeah, they genuinely should have. But I was able to explore myself and learn a lot about myself through those kinds of websites, and I'm grateful I had them. But at the same time, there just aren't enough protections for kids on those websites because they aren't websites for kids, you know? And I don't know, it's just, the internet is such a messy place that if I ever had a kid, I'd be terrified of giving them internet access at all.
I wouldn't. I'd let them run wild. What's the worst that could happen? They end up like me? I'm fine.
Really?
Yeah.
I genuinely would not
Never mind
want
the fact that I probably actually saw snuff porn online when I was like 14.
I would not want any child of mine to grow up to be anything like me, because Jesus Christ, I'm a mess.
I thought you were going to be like really insulting there and be like, I wouldn't want a child to grow up to be like you.
No! The things I saw on the internet before I was ready, just because they're, you know, again, because adult and minor spaces are just kind of mashed together. And especially when I was growing up, when, you know, like tagging and stuff wasn't as common. It was a lot easier to stumble across things you didn't want to see. I hate to be like, oh, kids these days don't know how easy they have it, but kids these days don't know how easy they have it. I don't know. I just really like to see more spaces that are specifically for adults and more spaces that are specifically for minors with zero overlap. That aren't just porn websites for adults and like Nickelodeon.com for kids.
I'm banned from Nickelodeon.com, actually.
You want to tell me that story, bud?
I was making a joke, but I was gonna continue it, but I was like starting to think, no, wait, they'll probably actually believe it because. Yeah,
because when my friends tell me something, I believe the thing that they say.
Because you were a stupid little homo.
Wow. You heard it here, folks. On the podcast, we've got indisputable proof of Lee being a homophobe.
But either way, should we go into our identities? Or like before I don't know how long we've been recording, but I do have to get off soon. But like before we have like our final like, oh, what's your favorite thing? Do we want to talk about like what we identify as? At all?
I'm just trans and I'm gay, and I have a lot of opinions that I'm trying more and more to just keep to myself because, you know,
I don't think
that they're particularly controversial opinions most
of the time. It's just that they don't matter on the internet.
Yeah, it's just that nothing fucking matters on the internet, and yet everything matters on the internet.
All right, Joe, you want to go next? Joe?
I'm cishet.
Joe. Okay. He's our token cishet white boy.
Go white boy, go white boy, go.
Do you identify as anything else, Joe?
Egg.
Ohioan.
Yeah, you sure are shaped like one. But anyways. That was rude. I'm very sorry, Joe.
You know, I don't have to take this from the person built like a fucking blueberry muffin.
Like a blueberry muffin?
Soft and fucking crumbly.
I'm built like the fucking Michelin tire man. Y'all seen that motherfucker?
I think I killed Lee.
But I'm bisexual specifically for animes, and I happen to identify as non-binary.
A flavor of non-binary.
Yeah.
I also have one other thing I identify as.
A neckbeard?
Dodging a bullet.
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
I think you know exactly what it means.
Okay, so what should be our signing off question for tonight?
What's your favorite sex position?
How many?
Sorry, I had to
here's
be
my-
a stereotypical gay for a second. Go on.
How many dogs have you?
How many dogs? What? Sorry, you kind of cut off for me.
How many dogs have you fucked?
0.
Do furries count?
No.
Well, no. If you fuck
Okay,
a man
0.
if you fuck a man who is a furry, you have not fucked a dog. You've just fucked a man who maybe thinks he's a dog or just really likes anthropomorphic characters,
I had a
depending on the
crush on a
type
gay
of furry.
dude who was a furry.
I think we've all
Okay.
been there.
Let's
Except
say,
Joe.
are we all set and ready to go? Should we
No,
sign
no,
off?
Joe. How many dogs have you fucked?
All of them.
Well, I'm glad I've never had any dogs. It's been cats all the way for me.
Funny you think cats are safe from Joe.
No!
Okay, we should clarify here. We don't abuse animals.
Yeah, we are absolutely joking. No one here has fucked an animal. We are.
No one here is Shane Dawson.
Yeah, we love animals in a completely non-sexual, non-romantic manner.
Let's talk about our pets though.
Oh yeah.
Let's have like a nice peer question.
I have a fat cat named Chester. He is orange. He's a tabby, so of course he is fat and loud and loves food. You heard him on the last podcast. He came and visited.
All right. I have 2 cats. I have Oreo. She's like actually my cat. She's black and white and very fluffy, and she enjoys sitting near me and meowing. And then I have Wilson, who loves chicken and salmon and sitting on me.
I love Wilson and Oreo so much.
All right, Joe, you want to tell him about Nico?
He's a fat fuck who doesn't do enough to warrant all the shit he gets.
Nico is unknowable.
Nico's a baby.
Nico is baby.
All he does is eat so much that he fucking throws up and then demand more food.
I'm still thinking about like the story of the nightmare you had.
Leave him alone.
The story of the nightmare you had where Nico scooted towards you very rapidly in the dark. It lives rent-free in my head.
Yeah,
same here, bud.
So good. I love it.
Oh, man. So, so as we sign off, just remember, you guys, if you want anything edited out, please, say it in the chat after we end.
Right.
But, this has been the Painbow Cast, aka The Worst Idea. I'm pretty sure Joe's regretting it.
AKA one funny trans man and 2 other people.
Oh, excuse you.
I didn't know I was trans.
Government assigned trans.
I government assigned Joe trans.
No!
His voice just gets higher pitched.
Anything but this!
Okay.
Oh, what a good way to sign off. I turned Joe trans.
Oh no, my fucking fat mommy milkers!
Joe's
I don't think much changed there, Joe.
And he grew fat mommy milkers.
It's Lady Dimitrescu. She's been summoned.
Oh god, I love her so much. I don't like that, though.
Okay, next episode we cannot mention Lady Dimitrescu or fart porn of her at all.
I can agree to not mention the fart porn. I cannot promise I will not mention my wife.
Hard no on both.
Good Joe.
In fact, I'm bringing feet into the equation next
No,
podcast.
God, no, please, no, God, no.
Okay,
Good
why
night,
does it have to be
everybody.
why can't it be belly buttons?
Alright, just for that, we're doing armpits.
Oh, God.
My armpits
people.
actually really stink right now.
Thanks for informing us. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, fuckers.
This podcast is hosted by Joe, Zach, and Lee. Special thanks to Pixabay for the royalty-free music you've been hearing in this podcast, created by John Sibb and Toby Lane. We hope you enjoyed listening to us prattle on, and we'll see you again soon.